definition of success is very rounded. Uh, it's your health goals, your health, living healthy, having good relationships, being happy in what you do, getting your earning your buck, of course, because money is very important to all of us. We all have bills to pay.
Hi, and welcome to Indian Explorers. In this podcast, we talk about Indian success stories. I am Sabrina, and together with my co host Amit, we will get to understand the journey of our guests and what really drives them. Their optimism, patience, idealism, and courage, these are their attributes, which we hope to bring to life in our conversations with them. So if you enjoy the show, please hit the subscribe button and share it with others. Hello, welcome back from Hong Kong.
Thank you, Sabrina. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I have a story for you before we hear about your journey.
Go for it.
So Noel, Naima, and I flew to Greensboro, North Carolina, to visit Noel's sister and her family. And on the way back, we had booked American Airlines tickets. And I want to get your opinion on this. We booked American Airlines tickets. I guess we have gold status with American, so we get preferred seating, right? And
Okay.
obviously, all three of our seats are together in the whole journey. We were returning on Sunday, our first flight was delayed. So we were going to miss our connection, okay, in Charlotte. So, of course, American says you can change your flight at no cost so that, you don't have to get stuck in another city. So I did that. Naima was going to miss another day of school. And then we had to get back Monday because Tuesday she had a standardized state test. Okay. That's
Okay.
very important here. So I find a 5 p.m. flight. And from S- Greensboro to Dallas, we were all together. Dallas to San Antonio, which would be our final stop, we had the last three seats on the plane. So we were all three middle seats. You know where I'm going with this now, right? We're
Sure.
all separate.
Yeah.
Um, so I said, okay, it's not the first time that's happened. And usually when I get to the gate, they'll put one of us with the
Sure.
minor.
Or you
Okay.
ask inside the plane.
Well, yeah, I've asked outside at the
Yeah.
ticketing or the gate, and they just say they're like, oh, of course one adult has to be with the child.
Sure.
I don't expect all three of us to be together, so no problem, I'm not stressed. I get to the gate in Dallas and I said, oh yeah, she just turned 11 last month, so is it possible for you, or can you move one of us to be with her? She said, oh, we're oversold. And I was like, oh, okay, well, what's your policy? She didn't know the policy. And so she goes, okay, just wait, I'll try. So I said, well, you'll try, or you'll put, because I'm assuming you can't have a minor sit by themselves. And she's like, well, I'll try. So I was a little, taken aback, and I'm just standing there. So I look up the policy, and it says, as of last year, American Airlines guarantees that kids under 14 have to sit with, or they'll make sure they sit with an accompanying adult.
Sure.
Okay.
But they didn't know that at the airport.
They didn't know that. So then I go back to her and I read the policy. I come back, I wait in line, get to her. She looks so annoyed to see me. And mind you, I've been very kind. Okay. And I said, I know you said you'll try, but your policy clearly states, that
Sure.
a child under 14 will sit with an accompanying adult. And she's like, okay, my supervisor's on her way. I said, okay. So I step to the side, wait for the supervisor. Meanwhile, she calls another passenger and asks him, hey, would you mind moving to an exit row? Because we have a passenger that we need to make adjustments for. So he was like, sure, no problem. I'm thinking that's for us, but I
Yeah.
was clearly wrong. So the supervisor comes. She's talking to the lady I spoke to, and then already comes to me with an attitude.
The
She's like,
supervisor.
the supervisor, so what can I help you with? And I said, well, because she came with that attitude, I said, well, I'm sure she filled you in on what's going on. And she says, she did, but we're oversold, so there's nothing we can do. And I said, so you're, oh, and mind you, when I first brought it up to the first lady, she said, well, where are you sitting? And I said, well, I'm 8 rows back in the middle seat, and my husband's right behind her. And she said, oh, well, he's right behind her. And I was like, I don't think that's your decision to make for our child to see if
Yeah.
that's okay or not. So the supervisor comes with attitude and says there's nothing she can do because it's an oversold flight. And I was like, but this is what your policy says. And she kept making excuses, which made me upset. So I started arguing with her. Long story short, they said there was nothing they were going to do.
Yeah.
And the more I talked, she got upset and she was like, if you keep talking and don't let me talk, I'm just going to walk away. And
Okay.
I said, but why are you being so condescending? Right?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you come up with a solution for us?
What did
And
Noel do? What did Noel say?
he was honestly letting me handle it
Lead.
because I was like, I mean,
Yeah.
I was making good points, and I was like, this is clearly what your policy says. And she was like, nope. And then she just walked away. She goes, I'm done with this conversation.
Yeah.
And that's when
But
Noel said, wow, anyone can be a supervisor these days, right?
yeah. Yeah.
So what are
But
your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think they were just frustrated because I think it's an easy solution. All they
Yeah.
had to do was announce, hey, we have a passenger who has a minor who is flying alone and doesn't mind giving up their seat so that these two people can sit together. That's
Yeah.
all they had to do. But they just couldn't be bothered. I think they were
They
just being
couldn't be
lazy.
bothered. So I asked her, I said, she just asked another passenger to switch for an exit row. And she's like, that wasn't for you. That was for someone else. And I said,
Yeah.
okay, so you're not going to try for me? And she's like, no, we don't have to.
Yeah.
So, okay, you know what? They're boarding our group. So we're like, let's just get on and we'll ask the people around us. The problem is we have 3 middle seats. No one wants a
Yeah.
middle seat, right?
Sure. Nobody wants a middle seat.
Thankfully, I told Noel, I'll take your seat behind her. You go back there because I feel like people will be more sensitive to a woman
Yeah.
and their
To the mother.
child. Yeah. And so, I mean, the guy couldn't have been any nicer. As soon as I said, like, can I sit with but that's my seat. It's a middle seat. He goes, don't worry. It was a
Yeah.
short flight anyway. But can you imagine, you know, whether it's a girl or boy? I just said 11-year-old girl and she fell asleep. It was late, right?
Yeah.
She
I
fell asleep
find
between two strange men that
yeah.
she doesn't know. I mean,
This
what
is
about the
this
liability in that?
yeah, I mean, this has happened to us before, many a time, and we've never resolved it through the staff. We've always done it.
You always ask the people.
We go inside and we ask, hey, listen, my kid's going to cry all day in the plane. I want to sit next to him. It's happened to me many times when Chandni and I don't book on the same ticket
Yeah.
and we don't, reserve the seats together.
Yeah.
And I find people are good people on the whole.
Yeah.
And
Majority of them are when it
yeah,
comes to this.
and I find the staff are great if you're in business class,
Yeah.
right? But if you're in economy, it's not so good.
Yeah. So this morning, we have the news on every morning, and the Department of Transportation here in the US is trying to figure out what to do with all these, like they call junk fees, right? When you're
Yeah,
booking a ticket. I mean, you see the price of a round trip ticket's like 300. Well, you'll end up spending 450 anyway
yeah,
when
for
it
the
comes to
bags.
luggage, seating, because now you have to pay for seating if you want a little extra space or Wi-Fi. It's just all these extra fees, right?
Even
um
international flights, this happens,
yeah.
Sabrina. I just got back from a mega flight and the Wi-Fi was expensive. I got a middle row seat on the
Hmm.
way to Hong Kong because I forgot to, like, my fault, my laziness. I didn't go online and choose the seat.
Yeah.
And so I got a middle seat. It wasn't too bad. It's more, why isn't there a cure for jet lag? Why isn't there a pill you take? I'm not talking about melatonin. I'm not talking about sleep. I'm
Yeah.
talking about I've just gone from a 12-hour shift. Literally
Hmm.
between Chile and Hong Kong is 12 hours
And
difference.
you just arrived yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday morning.
Yeah.
And yesterday I tried to sleep at 9, 10 p.m., but by 7 o'clock I was passed out. But
Yeah.
then at 1:30 in the morning, I'm wide awake. And
Yeah.
1:30 to 6:30, I want to just wake up the boys, but obviously I let them sleep. But yeah, there should be all this medication, all this medicine we're spending, Ozempic, Wegovy for fat loss. Why is, with so many rich people traveling, Why isn't there a cure for jet lag?
Yeah. Well, maybe that's your next venture.
Don't get me
how
tempted.
was
Don't get me tempted.
how was Hong Kong?
Hong Kong, like the rest of Asia, is booming.
Okay.
Yeah, it's booming. I mean, obviously, I was there for the month of the fairs, so you have people from all over the world. The efficiency of that city is incredible. They put any other city to shame. You can walk. It's like a walking city, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have connecting, the MTR, which is the train underground station,
Okay.
and the bridges and the infrastructure is so good. Right when you get off a train, you can go to a five-star hotel or a restaurant or a mall, or just a museum. Everything is connected,
Okay.
and I just found Hong Kong to be an
Is it
incredible
like
city.
I've never been to Hong Kong. Is it like New York City on steroids?
I think New York is always on steroids. So I, in New York, you see
It's on
people.
heroin.
No, you see people who are homeless in New York. You see people
Yeah.
dressed like bums.
Yeah.
In Hong Kong, the women and the men are both dressed impeccable,
Oh,
and none of this
wow.
tacky brands.
Mm-hmm.
Everything just looks like it's expensive.
Yeah.
And the men and the women, right from the morning, are dressed with jackets and like the trousers, shirts. Everything fits.
Everyone's
Nothing
like,
is baggy,
yeah.
uh, and it's just a normal work day. But everyone just looks good. There's
Oh,
no
wow.
eating or drinking in the trains. Everyone's very respectful to each
Clean.
other. It's just clean. Everything is
Yeah.
clean. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, everything is tiny because the expensive property.
Yeah.
But I think it's a super well-run city, Hong Kong.
Speaking of brands, what are you wearing?
This is La Martina. It's like a polo, but the
Mm-hmm.
South American version of polo. I think it's an Argentinian brand.
Okay.
It's quite
Oh,
big.
yes, it's
It's quite big. I
IRG.
think they're in
Oh,
Europe
very
now as
cool.
well. Yeah, it's
Okay.
just the polo of this continent. Let's just say.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of brands, unless you have anything else you want to add about your trip?
Uh, no, no. The trip was
No?
good. I was very tiring, but my friends came down from Bombay to hang out as well. I
Okay.
got to meet people who I haven't seen in many years. It was 5 years ago that I last went to Hong Kong because during COVID, Hong Kong was a shit show.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of people have left Hong Kong. A lot of expats have
Yeah.
moved back to Europe, US, and the population's dropped in Hong Kong.
Okay. Oh,
Especially,
interesting.
the whole Chinese people are scared
Oh,
that
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
China's taking over Hong Kong. So I didn't see any of that. Obviously, I was there for 2 weeks. I had a great time, but there are a lot of people who have left.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of brands, we have some marketing gurus on today, husband and wife, and a power couple. So, shall we bring them on?
Sure. I think the guy's name we've not met is Aman,
Yes, correct.
and my Aman
Oh,
today, my it turns 10 months.
oh, happy 10-month
Yeah.
birthday.
I feel
So cute.
Sabrina, I just got back from this 2-week trip. I just feel like, Annika is turning 17 on Saturday.
Your
And
niece.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like everyone's growing up very fast now.
Yeah.
Either
I think the
that,
older we get, the
yeah,
faster time goes.
yeah, I think everything is slowed down for me and everything around me is just really fast paced.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I feel that way a lot.
Anyway, let's bring them on.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Okay, so like I said a minute ago, today I'm thrilled to announce a power couple, Tanya and Aman Swetta. They are co-founders of ID8 Media Solutions, an award-winning integrated marketing communications and consulting firm. They have offices in Mumbai and New York City now, and they're helping their customers with a full range of marketing services, including but not limited to content design and public relations. Their clients come from an array of industries and include Valentino, DKNY, JW Marriott, and so many others we are all familiar with. Let's jump into it and learn more. Hi, guys.
Hey.
How are you? Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thank you, Sabrina and Amit, for having us here at the podcast. We're really looking forward to this conversation with you guys. Y'all are so good at what y'all do. Uh, so, thank you again for having
Thank
us here.
you.
Sabrina, you can tell the guy's in marketing because he started complimenting us. He's the only one in the 40 episodes that started to saying that. So you can tell You can tell we're dealing with a smooth talker.
No, but you
Aman,
are
Tanya,
good.
where you guys at? Where are you in Bombay? Are you in Dubai? Are you in Miami? Where you at now?
We're here in New York. Today for the podcast, we are at home. Once this is done, we have a couple of meetings lined up and a crazy day ahead of us.
Okay. And you
Okay,
just moved to New York City, correct? To open your office just recently?
It's been,
It's been 3 years.
yeah, it is recent. It's been like 3 years. So
Okay.
it is very recent. I think almost 3 years, right, Tanya? What is it like? Almost 3 years. We're still a couple of
We
months.
come on 3 years anytime now.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, okay. Let's
Okay.
let's let's start at the beginning. Can you tell us when you got into the industry, when you started the company? It was in India. Now you're in the New York. So just walk us through the background.
So the company was founded by Tanya uh, in 2001 as a PR agency. I think she must have been what, 21 or 22, Tanya? And uh, it just started off very organically with one client and working from home with herself. And then as time passed by, the entrepreneurial spirit that Tanya has, she really grew the company and moved on. Uh, in 2008, while she was doing this, actually, I was creating a media convergence project with filmmaking and a digital community building platform offering services of creative and digital. Digital was fairly new back then, and it was like a scientific word literally. When you said digital, people were like, stop, I don't know what you're saying anymore. However, when we met in 2008, we realized that uh, the next wave for marketing is not only going to be PR, outdoor, television, but digital will play a very important role. So we and realized that integrated marketing and solution, one pointed, where the teams work in harmony with each other, would be the new avatar of a marketing agency. When we
Got it.
actually spoke about this to people back then, it was like a taboo. Like, what are you all talking about? But yes, we started building our teams then and launched a new avatar of Ideate 2.0 then, with as an integrated agency with offering services such as PR, social media, creative, branding, videos, digital building platform, websites, mobile apps, softwares, and so on.
When did you join? Because Tanya
In
started this when she was
2008.
21. Were you together at when she was 21, or did you get involved later on when you were started dating?
I think we started working together first and started getting to know each other, started dating, falling in love, and then marriage happened.
Oh, very cool. I don't know why when I read your bio, I thought you were married and then joined
So,
her.
we met because our best friends were dating each other, and they
Okay.
really felt like, what, these two would be really good together. That was the premise of like them kind of trying to throw us together on various different occasions. So, be it going to a movie or going to dinner or whatever, it was always like, why don't we go out together? And and I think for both of us, we were pretty much very busy with our own trajectories and lives, so it was not a priority. But because his best friend was dating my best friend, it just, how it is, it just by default you land up agreeing and saying
They were
okay.
right.
Yeah, I know, we're very thankful to them, of course, so many years later, and always thank them whenever we speak to them individually, because they're not together anymore, but that's how it is. um,
Okay.
yeah. So when we met, we got talking, and I think the talking never stopped. So really, like, obviously, like when we got talking, we realized that there's so much that we have in common, and we really enjoyed each other's company, and we started spending a lot of time together. It was actually a little like it was very unusual, even so much so that my family and his family both felt like we were behaving really strange, like not coming home and being out for long hours, or me staying over, and all of those kind of things, which were not very regular occurrences for either one of us. And just to be very clear, we were both either in our late 20s or our early 30s at that point in time.
Okay.
So
And you were holding out on us. You didn't give us the full picture.
Yeah.
Sabrina, this has
We want
gone.
details.
Sabrina, this has gone from a media story to a love story.
I know, I love it. That's our title.
Yeah.
Right. And then, of course, most of our conversations obviously were around, what we do, because we were both so busy with what we were doing and we were both so
Right.
engrossed in our own work. And that's really where I feel like the connect started. So, really, the lines between falling in love and working together are kind of a little blurred because we found this commonality firstly. We were dating each other, we were constantly together, and we would constantly talk about our work. And with him being in this environment of digital and creative, which was just kind of picking up and starting out, and with me being very firmly entrenched in the PR space where it's all about marketing to a customer. At the end of the day, like, I'd come back with my problems and talk to him, and he'd have solutions for me, or he would talk to me and I would have solutions for him. And of course, at the same time, we were dating each other. So it's a very, very blurred line in terms of um, whether we fell in love first or whether we started working first. But what
Okay.
happened out of all of these conversations was that, Aman started talking about how like his whole project on what he was working on the film was a very integrated approach to communication, was a very integrated approach to how you can reach a customer through the medium of a film, giving out a message, and also taking that film then onto an online digital platform um, like a space where like-minded people can meet, connect. I mean, what is Facebook? Facebook is came out after his film, literally. Like, that was Facebook launched in the early 2000s. I think Aman completed his film in around 2005, approximately between 2001 and 5 he was done with the film. So that was the idea of his project, and that's where the vision started coming about, because all these problems, or all this, the situations that we were both facing on client side, in terms of, how do we reach the customer. This was also a big period of churning. If you saw between like
For sure.
2008 to 2015, there was a huge period of a lot of churning within the industry itself, because the brands, the way they were traditionally marketing, was obviously not working for them anymore, and this they could see through the data. But at the same time, they didn't know what is it that they would be doing correctly in order to realign this entire funnel of marketing, so that they could drive the value that they want and reach the customer more effectively, which was happening prior to this, right? Because there was pretty much print and online, or outdoor, or PR. So that's when we got talking, and this was actually Aman's vision, which he brought to me. And of course, in the beginning, I'm a Taurian, and I was like, no, this is not going to work. I don't know whether this is the right idea. Should we combine business with pleasure? Should we even think about this approach? But he was very passionate about the vision of having an integrated marketing approach to communication, which means that when there is a brand, a service, or a product, does not matter whether the brand is a large global brand or whether it's a small brand. Our vision and our purpose is to be able to help people navigate this entire world of marketing communications and actually come out with a strategy where they're talking to their customer through different silos of marketing. So, whether you look at it from a creative and a content perspective, which is really where you start your entire ideation and you come up with your ideas and your concepts, and that rolling into the mediums, which is your digital, PR, influencer, offline. So that was the vision, and that's what we decided to go about starting, and that's what we started in 2008. We got
Okay.
married in 2009. um we were literally, like, so everything, as I said, happened all together. We pretty much started dating in 2008. We spent we spent a lot of time together in that 1 year to make these decisions. And in 2008, when we started out with this vision, we obviously started out with, like, first setting up our division. So we had a PR division and a marketing division, and of course PR would kind of also look, so offline marketing, which is like experiential marketing. So that was something that we were already doing, but that was the fundamental of Ideate. Now we brought in an entire digital thought process, and we also brought in a creative thought process, which is how Aman came in as co-founder to lead these two verticals. uh, and I was, of course, leading the other two, and the vision was that we want to reach this stage eventually where we are a single pointed communications agency, So of course that in itself has been a journey. It's just not as simple as like just setting up a creative team or setting up a digital team. So we really started from scratch, built a team that understood maybe creative in itself, or like designing, and then we had a team that understood digital in the form that it was in 2008, which is
Yeah,
obviously now it's a completely different
that's
ball game.
fantastic. Tanya, I wanted to ask you, can you give us an example of one of your first clients at that point and how you would pitch to them, this is what we're going to do? And I say that because, we have listeners of all different generations. Like my mom, for example, she doesn't understand why maybe someone we know is pitching their business on Facebook. To that generation, it might be like, oh, they're showing off, you know, but they're actually marketing. So give me an example of like one of your first clients that comes in and you're pitching each silo to them.
Sure. Aman, would you like to take that?
Yeah, I think if you're just saying the first one, and to be honest, we had this very innovative client, and they had come up with a fabric, and they came to us raw. Ex bankers from Citibank gave up their job, came up with this innovative fabric that actually absorbs radiation. Uh, Radiation that you get from your phone, from the microwave, and it's all around us today, right? We live in the midst of it. uh, where they were launching curtains with radiation to absorb the radiation and then release it back into the fresh air. So that was, I
Okay.
think, one of our first clients, which didn't have a name. So we had to, of course, create the brand name, the brand identity, the creative, the website, all the brand collaterals, and then move and amplify the brand with launching it with an event. So we had
What's the name? Give
uh,
us the name.
okay, it's House of Napiers was the name of the brand. Uh, and we launched them with a maternity wear associated with a Bollywood celebrity back then, uh, and launched a maternity line for these guys holistic.
Okay.
What we did is we kind of realized that we need to talk to them about the fact that it is going to be sales based.
Yeah, which
Because
is what they want to hear, right?
I think it's also they were bankers, right? So they very well understood that, hey, if they have to deal with four different agencies, they need a larger team. Plus, each agency is going to have its own format, coordinating all those thought processes and plans into one integrated plan, which the brand needed to launch, of course, right? Versus when we're offering the photo shoot, we're offering the website, we're offering the social media, the PR, the
Yeah.
celebrity association.
That's overwhelming.
It worked out much cheaper for them, and most
Okay.
importantly, they didn't have a strong internal team to coordinate with these 4 or 5 agencies and bring the thought process together,
Right.
which becomes a part of us to do that for them, which we are doing even now. And I mean, now it's very common, right? Everybody's looking for
Sure.
an integrated solution. People don't want to go to 10 people doing the same job,
Exactly.
right? And
So you
overlap.
said that
Absolutely.
worked out cheaper for them. Do marketing agencies in general, do they charge by the hour like attorneys do, or do you do per package?
So I
so
think
there are multiple formats, right? Depending on which part of the world you're in. So the one format is that there is a charge by the hour. There's another format where they charge depending on the what you're doing. Like if it's a PR service, for example, they say it's a success fee based format. So basically, they'll they push you out into the market, and when they get a story, then there'll be a really large fee for bringing out that story. And then there's a format where it's a monthly retainer format where you basically pay a flat amount of money every month. And then there are, depending
Okay.
on what it is, then those services fall into that purview. Those services then have a set kind of KPI,
Mhm.
key performance indicators linked to them, which are normally divided into. I mean, I can tell you the way we work is based on like a quarterly goal, and that's a micro goal, and then there's a macro goal, which is an annual goal. So we actually make annual strategies. which are then
Okay.
broken up into quarterly plans. So there are many different ways, Sabrina, actually, in which different marketing agencies, how they work, you know.
Okay.
I'll tell you why Sabrina is asking.
Hmm.
Sabrina wants to hire you guys for Indian explorers to spread the word. So she
You're
wants to know when she
only New
negotiates
York.
with
Our
you.
budget is very small though, so please keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
So she's this is her way of negotiating with you, right?
Oh my God,
So
we do that anyways. It'll be our
yeah.
pleasure, guys.
I know I've always wondered because there's so many marketing agencies. I just met someone, his daughter is on my daughter's soccer team. I said, "What do you do?" Marketing. I said, "What kind?" "Digital marketing." And I was like, it seems to be everywhere. So how do you set yourself apart from everyone else?
I think.
Opening an office in New York.
Well,
I wish
let me
I
take
was
that back.
somewhat
I'd like
more.
to know because obviously there's a reason you've gone to New York. Is there one client that took you from here to here?
No.
Let me take it, right. So, like we worked with so many brands and launched, worked with more than 1,000 plus brands to enter the Indian market, whether that be Tommy Hilfiger in the retail space, Allo, Jimmy Choo, Net-a-Porter, so many of these names, right? In the hospitality space, we worked with the Big Four, the Marriott, the Hyatt, the Hilton. We
Mhm.
launched a couple of new hotels. Uh,
Alina Diva.
I think what triggered off, if I remember, is that one day we were celebrating the 10th anniversary of Tommy Hilfiger in Delhi, where Mr. Tommy Hilfiger's team flew down, and we were talking to their agency. I don't know, Tanya, if you remember this, and we were like, "Hey guys, you all spend so much more for marketing for your global strategies in New York. We are doing the job for you here. You're happy with us. Why don't we pitch?" So they're like, "Do you all have a global presence?" And I just took that back with me. I'm like, no, we don't. So, so started realizing, right? That's when it triggered off, and of course, we dwelled, and then we went digging deeper to say, hey, we need a global office. At that time, we didn't know it's going to be New York, though. And that's when we decided, okay, fine, we need to work towards as a larger goal, as a long-term goal. It took us 5 6 years to actually open our office here, and another 4 years for us to move here, to push it, to get it up to speed with the operations we have in India.
So who's running India operations today, where I presume most of the staff are based? Can you give us an idea of how many people are in New York versus India?
We're about at around 60 or 70 people now at
Okay.
ID8.
Both
And as we
countries?
Yeah, so 75 now if you take both the countries. Yeah, definitely, India and the US. And as we build our team, I think one of the very strong aspects that we look at is diversity, because it's only when we have a diverse team can we really offer that kind of value to a brand,
Of
uh,
course.
to understand
Right.
customer. So I
I
hope
wanted
that
to ask, I wanted to shift a little bit now to talk about the two of you and how you work together. I mean, not a lot of couples can do that successfully. What are the pros and cons? I'd like to hear from both of you on working together full time.
oh my God.
It's not that bad, Sabrina. To be very honest, I think we're like buddies. That's how we've at least turned out to be, like buddies, right? We look out for each other. We grow with each other in every aspect. Uh, we both love to do our morning routine with yoga or with a little bit of
Okay.
meditation, get a workout together. We're constantly working, ideating. Uh, Couples usually say, "Hey, how you guys work together? Don't you like
Hmm.
fight? Don't you like pull your hair? If I'm left with my wife for an hour and it's going to be crazy." Um, I don't know how that happens, because I think it's very seamless for us. We do have our arguments. We do go through our churning processes. We have difference of opinion. We both are loud enough to speak about it, but it's for the greater decision, a better decision. We dig a little deeper to find what is the right decision. Sometimes both
Ultimately,
our
who
point of views were
wins?
wrong when
Aman.
Ultimately, who makes the final decision?
the research, the right decision, right? Whatever is the right decision for that time. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. I agree. I mean,
I,
like, I
you
feel
know
like
what? It's a
it's
journey, I feel. So we always live and learn. We're constantly
Yeah.
growing, learning, improvising, growing. So far, so good, you know.
But
So put it
do
into
you
context. We've been working together for 14 years now. Okay, so if we look at the beginning of this journey, it was very different to where it is today. I would say that the first thing, if I have to really go back, I would say like different styles of working, right? Like, because everyone has their own style of working, and that's very inherent to you as an individual. But as a couple, when you're leading a company, that can become a big challenge because,
Hmm.
like, for example, like I may have a style of working where I need to um, write down everything I need to do, for example. Not to say that that's not a commonality between Aman and me. We
I
do
mean,
both
if
like to
you
write
don't do
down
to
everything.
dos today, you don't do any. Like, I mean, that's like a
But there are so many. It's a personality difference, right? We're not twins. We're yes, yeah, we're a
no.
couple and we're together. So in the beginning, there were a lot more fights, right? There were a lot more fights, and there was also a lot more like just that friction because n- both of us were so used to working alone, like on our own. Like we were both leaders of our own companies, and now you're gonna have to ask another person what to do, and that too, that same person is the same person at home and the same person at work, and you're
Hmm.
like, where
I
do
can
I
fully
go?
agree. I work with my husband, so I get it. And
Ah,
people ask us too, how do you guys do it?
right.
I mean, and we've done it for many years and it works well. We do have our arguments also. And the way I deal with it, when we argue, he's ready to put it aside, but I come home, I just want to stay quiet. I want to deal with our daughter. And then the next morning, I'll be over it and we can move on. Amitu, could you ever work with Chandni?
no, you all three of you are much more mature than I am. I could I could not work with my wife. She definitely could not work with me. And we managed three boys under 10. I think we do a good job with them,
Wow.
and that's where I'd like to
That's why you
finish
are working
that
together.
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, do you guys have kids? And how did your kids take it when you told them, "Hey, we're moving from Bombay to the Big Apple"?
We have to go.
Aman, I think you should give a little bit of a backstory to New York, right? Like, I think that's important.
So we have two girls. I mean, they're
Two girls.
they're 10 and 12 now. Uh,
Okay.
when we told them we're moving to New York, they were super excited. Uh,
Okay.
Wow.
it was not an overnight decision. I have family
Yeah.
here. My mom lives here. My sister lives here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went to school here, did my filmmaking course from New York Film Academy. My kids, when they were born, from the first year, every summer vacation, we would be here.
Okay.
Okay.
So they were quite prepped, you know. We came here, they went to the school that they're going to now, met the vice president, had a school tour done prior to moving. So they were just excited. So it
Got it.
was,
But then
it wasn't,
their friends back at home.
uh, you know what? Especially we come from Bombay. The culture of Bombay is friendship, and the friendships last
Sure.
forever back there. So yeah, they are in touch with their friends. They miss them, yes, definitely. But for some reason, I think they were at the right age when we moved. It just worked out well. Very close to my mom, my sister, so they were very excited to come in here. Uh, this was home for them. It was like coming from one home to another home.
That's
That's awesome.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it
awesome.
worked out well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So tough.
God's been kind.
Before before we get into the definition of success, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned how um life changed a lot for people between 2008 2015. Digital
COVID,
innovation exploded. Where do you see now the change happening?
AI.
Yeah, AI, and how do you see that affecting everything we do now? I mean, drastically life changed in those years. So where do you see us going now?
Yeah, I think life is ever changing, right, guys? I mean, look at it.
Of course.
100 years ago, look at it. 50 years ago, there's innovation happening, there's tech happening in different ways, moving from uh, and now it's AI and robotics and blockchain and all these new technologies that we hear of. I think it's only going to enhance the way we work. It's going to take off certain things we do from our plate, which we may have an emotional connect with, which we may be experts of. But on a larger level, come on, it's definitely going to help us function more seamlessly, achieve more as an individual, move ahead, get tasks done. So, and it's inevitable. I mean, change and growth is inevitable. As individuals and as a company, we feel, I mean, look at the last 10 years, like Amit said, COVID, right? It changed the way things work. I mean, who imagined we're going to work in a hybrid model? Most companies are today. It was 4 years back. It was not accepted. Um, by the way, I think the pandemic and the COVID also helped our decision to move to the US. That was a big deciding factor because India was so busy for us. We opened our company here in 2015. And then every year we kept pushing it. We said, hey, you know what? How do we leave what we have in our plate and trying to venture out for more growth? We have to settle that first. In 2019, when COVID hit, of course, all our bigger clients came up to us in that 1 week and said, hey, force major, stop work, take a pause. And we have like a large team sitting on our head with us, our family, who's all equipped to work with these guys. uh, Anyways, that happened to everybody. But coming back to your question on moving to New York, yes, we were hit by that. For the first couple of months, we were just dealing, firefighting on what we should do, how we can manage this whole COVID situation. Few months later, we were like, hey, how do we make the most out of it? We have an office waiting. Things are moving hybrid. It doesn't matter where you are right now. And that's when we took the plunge and
Right.
and
Yeah.
moved here physically.
What
So
about
my
yeah?
interpretation of AI, right? Like I think AI is something that's a big topic, right? I feel
Of
like
course.
people need to embrace AI. You need to embrace it for what it has to offer you. Like for example, a simple thing like ChatGPT, right? There's a big debate around how ChatGPT is going to kind of take over the content space, and you're not going to require a content writer anymore in order to because ChatGPT is going to pretty much do all of this for you on a most basic level with AI. But what I feel is like ChatGPT being AI is a great tool for content writers to use in order to be able to complete their task quicker. But at the end of the day, the thought process or what you want to drive through that content is a very human thing. So it's a how you partner with AI, how you embrace AI, use technology to enhance human life rather than using technology to like let it take you over. I think that is one thing that I feel is very important, and that's something that we do at Ideate also. We do use a lot of AI. So I think we need to embrace AI, and at Ideate we use tools of AI in order to help us complete tasks that can be done by a machine. Like for example, we have data and we want to analyze data. We'd probably use an AI tool to analyze the data on the first level and then let our team look at that data in a structured way to make those to find those solutions that we're looking for from the data. Similarly with ChatGPT, again, which being a tool which is for writing, we will add our thought process and our input into the tool, let the tool come back to us with a form of content, but that's not necessarily the final form of content that we use, that goes out eventually to the market. But it saves a lot of time, an unnecessary amount of time that is spent on that task gets saved for that particular person or that expert, thereby giving them more time to think, which is also extremely important. So
Right.
using AI and embracing AI to help ease your own human life is what we feel is very important on the AI front.
What about the TikTok ban? You know, India banned it a decade ago. America is about to ban TikTok. Clearly, brands love TikTok. Many brands are making,
Oh yeah.
big dollars thanks to TikTok. Have you heard any complaints about from your customers, and how are you going to evolve if TikTok ban actually happens?
So I have a question. Maybe I can ask you all this question, Amit and Sabrina.
Sure.
What do you all think? Why do you think TikTok is so successful? What
I
is
think
the
Tik I think TikTok is pure entertainment, and I think people today don't have any patience. So just like YouTube now has their shorts and Instagram has their reels, I think people want to see quick videos, and since
Got
video
it.
and brand
Quick,
And
work
I
on
think
broad.
that's a generational thing too.
yeah.
You know, I think so. I mean, our kids are growing up, with that. I just want a quick info. If this is going to be more than a minute, you've lost my interest.
The
30
algo
Right.
seconds.
also of TikTok is very good compared to the algorithm of other ones. If I see videos of football, I'll get 20 in a row. You know, if I see a video of if I click and spend more time watching the Palestinian side of the Israeli Gaza conflict, I'll get all those,
News,
videos.
right? It
Together.
follows,
Yeah,
it knows what you want to hear.
yeah,
It's
correct. So I
constantly.
find TikTok to be like I get bored of Instagram in 10 minutes max. I know many people, especially women, love Instagram, but I get bored of it. Whereas TikTok and YouTube, I could do for hours in a day, no problem.
Hmm. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, so I think that that's what it is, right? It's video, right? Video.
Yeah,
What we've kind of like really realized that it's the content and the way it's created. So that comes back to design and content and how you're thinking that through, how you're translating that into a format. The video format is definitely, it's one hands down, right?
yeah,
And that's really where this whole TikTok piece comes into play. As you said very correctly, Amit, it's also about this whole just them putting all of the information together in the way the algorithm works, where it allows you to see everything together. I think those are the aspects that really work well for TikTok. We've had clients who we've worked with for TikTok. We've done ad strategies for TikTok. It's worked really well, but whether TikTok stays or goes according to us is not really going to define. I mean, it's not going to be like a defining moment, to be honest, because there are
More a
so many other
political,
ways to
more
communicate.
it's more got to do with the political relationships with countries
Hmm.
that they have. It's more got to do with cybersecurity. It's more got to do with the privacy laws. Uh,
Privacy.
I think the bans, right, is more got to do with these terms more than anything else.
Absolutely,
When it
Aman.
comes to entertainment, yes, people love instant gratification or
Right.
want short information in short spans in bullet points. They don't want long conversations today. They don't want to collect data or any information in long conversations. They want it quick. And yes, of course, I don't know if TikTok gets banned. It's not a. I mean, there are no comments on that. But in case it does, I'm sure we'll have a better one because people are consuming it, and consumers
In fact, that's what I
actually
feel
decide what's
because
coming up next for
yeah,
all.
absolutely, Aman. I agree with you. I think TikTok is more a politically driven because the main concern that is there around TikTok, which India has already. I mean, India barely saw the tip of TikTok, but a lot of Indian celebrities and brands still are on TikTok, which you can watch anywhere else in the world. And in the United States also, I think the main concern is the fact that it's a security concern,
Oh,
uh,
definitely. Yeah.
because your data is on this platform. And I mean, if and I think today, I think there was something passed today, right? There was a bill passed today on
Yesterday,
TikTok.
yeah, the Senate
Oh,
passed it. So
yesterday.
now
Correct.
I think they have a
Biden.
time limit to sell. If
Biden just
not,
has to approve it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, this is all. And if TikTok, as Aman said, if TikTok goes away, there'll be another platform that will come up. So
Yeah.
and as customers, we don't care if we can't access TikTok, we will access Instagram, we will access YouTube Shorts. So YouTube is
You'll
also,
find a way.
yeah, YouTube Shorts is what is YouTube Shorts? It's a take on TikTok, right? They've seen the
Exactly.
success model, and YouTube knows that they have this customer base, and it just makes sense for them to go into a short model
Of course.
because yeah. So that's what, and of course, Aman touched on a very important topic, which is privacy. The
Okay, yes.
privacy laws are being I mean, that's again something that we consult on. So it's very important. Like, privacy laws are changing across the world, cybersecurity laws are changing across the
Hmm.
world. The UK has implemented nationwide cybersecurity and privacy law, and the fines are go into hundreds and thousands of pounds
Okay.
for companies that do not adhere to these laws. In the United States as well, I believe there are many states that have already implemented the privacy law, and this becomes very crucial for companies in marketing, or any company that holds data, basically.
Right.
So
got it.
yeah.
So,
So
Sabrina?
okay, I want to ask you both. What is your definition of success?
Definition of success is very rounded. Uh, it's your health goals, your health, living healthy, having good relationships, being happy in what you do, getting your earning your buck, of course, because money is very important to all of us. We all have bills to pay, and yeah, a whole rounded approach, and of course, having a very healthy relationship for me and maintaining that within around my atmosphere, I think is very important to me as a success, as a metrics for success.
Love it.
especially because you work with your wife.
Yeah.
That's it, Amit. You hit it. You hit the nail.
Tanya, yourself?
So I think earlier for me, success when I first started out was all about, like, how can I just conquer it all? I want to be, I want to rule the roost. I want to do it all. I want to be everywhere. I want to be the most popular. Everything has to work in that direction. And I think now my definition of success is really being able to have to live life on my own terms, to be able to work with the kind of work we want to, or we aspire to work with, the kind of people, brands, as Aman said, having those relationships are very positive, proactive, forward thinking, intelligent relationships, even with our clients. And yeah, and having a very good work life balance, right? You work hard, but you also should be able to enjoy your life equally. Is I think that's my definition of success now.
I love that.
I think we're a good fit to be your customers
I
in the
agree.
end, Internet Express podcast. Okay, so we'll jump into rapid fire. The rapid fire, because of time, there are normally 6 questions, and if I ask a question, one of you answer, and then Sabrina will ask a question, and the other person answers. If that's
Sounds good.
okay.
We
All right.
start
So
with
I'll start with the question.
okay.
If your company was a movie, what genre would it be, and who would play the main actor and the main actress?
It'd be a true story, inspirational true story. Who'd play it? Ranbir and Arlia. If it's in Bollywood, if it's in Hollywood, it'll be Keanu Reeves and Kate Winslet.
I love that.
I just jumbled it up.
That's the idea of a rapid fire. The first 2 people that came to your mind. I think that's a great
That was
answer.
awesome. Okay.
Sabrina,
Tanya, if you could collaborate with any celebrity or brand on a campaign, who or which would it be?
one that you've not already collaborated with.
Right.
I would like to collaborate with Sadhguru right now on his campaign for Save Our Soil.
Save us all. Okay.
Save our soil.
Save our
Save our
soil.
soil.
Okay.
Soil.
Save our
How's how's his health after the
Yeah,
brain
yeah.
thing?
He's fine. He's better now. He's looking
He's-
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It's
speak to him, your friends?
no, I would want to. I would want to. I really do. I've signed up
Really?
for, I've volunteered for everything that he's that especially the Save Our Soil. Like, he's talking about soil, right? How important
Yeah.
it is to the planet. That's a
Yeah.
long conversation, but
Well,
that's what I
this now that you've said on the podcast, we'll connect you.
Yeah, of course.
Yay!
I'm sorry, you were saying something. I cut you off.
No, no, no. I was just saying that yes, we speak to him every day.
Yeah, got it. Got it. Okay. Uh, you know what? Now that you've said that, I'm going to change the question. Uh, who's the most famous person, since you've worked with all these brands, that you have on your telephone?
Who?
He's
This is
going
for
to say Modi.
Tanya. Okay, I
It's a
have
tough
my.
question.
He's not famous. You said right?
Well, someone that Sabrina and I would know. We're not Bollywood kings, but maybe
Right.
somebody that Sabrina and I would know.
I
Tanya, you want to
mean,
take it
let me just say that there's lots of them who come from very famous Bollywood families. Aman's family is from the film fraternity, so I mean, you can ask us offline, and we'll
We
we
won't
can.
ask the phone number.
All
We're
right,
not
fine.
for the
You
phone.
know
Just
what?
the just the
I'll
name.
go back to the boring question because they don't want to put themselves on the spot.
Okay.
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 We
All
can't
right.
name
So
one person.
no,
It's
it's
just
okay. It's fine.
many
No
people.
problem. No problem. Okay. Then I'll change the question to a harsher question. What's the one thing you hate about your partner?
Oh my
Hate might
gosh,
be
not hate,
hate. Hate
annoyed.
might be a strong word. What's the
I'm
most
being very
frustrating thing?
nice.
What's the most frustrating thing about your partner? We didn't say this podcast would be easy, Tanya.
Mhm.
I
Who's answering that one? Aman, right?
No, we want both of them. Since they didn't
You know
Okay.
answer the
what I hate
celebrity, we
about
want both
Tanya
of them.
is, I told you we don't argue so much, but when we do, what I hate about Tanya is that she can sleep anywhere. So we are arguing midst of a conversation, and whenever she's done with her last say and her last word, she can take the pillow and just crash out, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
That's
I will answer
awesome.
the now. Who do I talk to? And then I have to wait for her to get up, and in the meanwhile, it's all fizzled out.
That is
Good answer.
hilarious.
Tanya?
Oh, I have to answer it too.
Well, yeah, give
Okay.
it back. Give it back. I'm giving you the chance.
Give it to me, baby.
Uh, Yeah, I think it's not that I hate that about him, but I find it very difficult to do that. Is just to be so positive all the time. I'm just like, how do you do this? Like, this is no, I want to rant and rave, but Aman will always have a positive solution to everything. And I'm like, you can't be positive all the time. You have to give me a negative solution. That never works out.
Aman,
That's
I'm with you in
cute.
this one, brother. I'm with you.
Okay, last question.
All right.
If you're going to gift a book that inspires you to someone, which book would it be?
So this is a book that I've been reading. I've read again and again. I've finished reading it now the second time. I'm probably going to read it again a third time. It was a book that was introduced to me by Aman many years ago. It's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
Okay.
And
Very
it's an
good book.
excellent book to read again and again and again because you can't get everything from that book if you just read it one time.
And this is why he's so positive,
Yes, I
right?
guess.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
It's a good book.
Yeah.
I mean, now is always changing, and now is always now. So you got to always get yourself to that now,
Right.
and be in one with the atmosphere. So it always helps me whenever I'm overworked and little out of place, and spread thin with many things and not centered. It helps me. I go back to the book, read it. It centers me down.
Aman,
Fantastic.
give
That's
another book.
a good book.
Yeah.
I like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. All these are classics, right? Uh,
Mhm.
I haven't read too many books. I'm not a big reader. Tanya is, but I like to repeat some of these books more often. Uh, so yeah, Power of Now, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Mm-hmm.
I think yeah, we all need to know a little bit about how to manage our money. No school teaches us this, right? I think now they are looking at this seriously, the education system, and uh, in fact, I gifted the kids version to my daughter. She's 12, and she's on it right now. I hope she finishes it.
Yeah, don't get us started in things that they don't teach our kids in school. I've
Yes,
got
we've
three
gone
kids
through
under
that.
10. We're so frustrated right now about that we rant about it every now and then. I Aman, I have a son who's called Aman, and he's
Whoa,
10. Yeah, and he's 10 months old today.
so
Yeah.
cute!
See?
Oh
Yeah.
my god,
Happy 10th
that's
month
such
birthday.
a nice
Yeah.
age.
So we
Yes.
still have to we have to put the 10-month sticker and take a picture and send it in the family, but we'll do that after this.
Cute.
Uh-huh.
Um, I hope he has your demeanor. I really liked getting to know you, and I really enjoy speaking to both of you, and I wish you all the best. And I have a couple of projects that I want to discuss with you offline, like you say, about being potential customers. So we'll do that another day. Thank you both very much for coming on and having an honest and frank conversation with both of us.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Sabrina, for having us here. Definitely going to take you up on and reach out to you and would love to work with you guys and build a relationship further from this podcast. Uh, thank you again. It's been lovely to be here.
And thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for putting down the questions and going through all of this. I know it's not easy, but it was really nice. It was really a fun podcast. Thanks a lot,
Oh,
Sabrina.
great. Great. Thank you for your time. I could see why you both are successful personally and professionally. And yes, I look forward to speaking to you guys offline. So, everyone, this has been another episode of Indian Explorers. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as we did. Have a great day, everyone.
Ciao.